Hello, beautiful people. Mic check, mic check. How you doing? Enjoy the moment. We've got a moment. Enjoy the moment. Thank you. Hello, beautiful people. Hit the like button, share the live. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. It is officially 2026. Oh, man. We're here. Congratulations to those of you uh, who made it. Yeah. We had a live 2 days ago, the biggest L's of 2025. I wanted to have a live yesterday, the biggest dubs of 2025, but I had a migraine from hell for the majority of the day up into the evening. Um, I was gonna stream on TikTok during Stranger Things. Nope. I looked like and felt like death coming and going. So neither of those things neither of those things happened. But the quickest of recaps. I would say first of all, I'm gonna pick up where I left off 2 days ago at the end of the live where I talked about, you know, us. you know, and where a lot of folks were in November 2024 leading up to January 20th, 2025 and into like the first and second quarter of 2025. Oh, I just can't. The politics, the stress of everything is too much. Y'all pulled on your adult panties and drawers and pulled it together. So I would say the first dub goes to It goes to you. It goes to the people. It goes to the people. It goes to the people, period. Um, we obviously wind up talking about a lot of problems and a lot of people who are, not doing the right thing. Um, but uh, there has been a shift, I would say. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you disagree with me, but I think that people are more aware than ever before, and they're also more knowledgeable than ever before. And that is because folks are either really heavily tapped in or at the very least paying attention to the landscape and everything that comes across the horizon, and then learning about those things. And then calling out BS when people spout BS about those things, and seeking out, reputable voices and solid factual information. And what that does directly is creates a counter pressure to the pressure cooker that I talk about all the time that we're all in everywhere on the planet. We're all in this pressure cooker, but this creates a counter pressure. And speaking for myself, that is the thing that allows people to use their voice and their time to gather us all to talk about these things, to share information, to tell you what you can and cannot do, to tell you what you can and cannot expect Probabilities, we talk about that a lot. And the focus on what needs to happen in your own backyard. And we see things happening in backyards across America. We see pushback. We see resistance. We see people putting their bodies on the line, stepping in between their neighbors and a brutal oppressor. We see the states marshaling all of their resources, and they do not have resources for days. You're gonna have your states are gonna be, talking about taxes and how do we pay for this, that, and the other, suing the government 811 times because your state and the people in it are being brutalized by the federal government. Costs a lot of money. So legislative sessions are gonna be starting soon. Pay attention. Communicate with your lawmakers. Vote down ballot. Because we see seats flipping or coming close to it. And all of those things matter for the system we've decided we're keeping, and we're going to try and, save and build upon in the future. So shout out to the people. Shout out to the people for stepping up for democracy, for stepping up, even in having knowledge about Drake v. UMG. You have more knowledge about the First Amendment and why cases that seem frivolous and stupid can be real threats against your life as you know it. And baby, it's going to pop off in 2026. It's going to pop off in 2026. I'm already knowing it's going to pop off in 2026. So gird your loins. Let's see who else. Let's shout out some dubs. Beyonce, album of the year. It feels just as sweet and remarkable as when it happened. The tour, just tens across the board for Beyonce. And we know that what that really means. Blue Ivy, all the wins for Blue Ivy. Stellar senior manager of the camp over there. Kendrick Lamar, Super Bowl performance, swept the Grammys, went on tour. Lots of us got to see it, right? Reaped the residuals of Drake v. UMG being dismissed. Yeah. Gatorade. I mean, there were so many things. Project 3, so many things for Mr. Lamar. Major dubs. Clips. Let God sort them out. Absolutely brilliant. It was sustenance. That is something that actually nourished us, as did GNX. But let God sort them out. Nourishment. JID. Nourishment. Doechii out there doeching. Nourishment. Cardi B. Am I the Drama? Nourishment. I said what I said. Baby, several. He's in several. And I do believe that is going to continue. Megan Thee Stallion. Dubs. Dubs. May they continue. Her ancestors are not playing. They walking around the other side with baseball bats, just ding, doink, ding, doink. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. He's a good man, Savannah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, we had a lot of cultural dubs. We really did. We had a lot of beautiful cultural dubs. But I think the peak for me is really Beyoncé winning the album of the year. That's peak. Aside from the lawsuit being dismissed. Yes, agree. We talked about that on the other side, but you know what? We can talk about it again because dub for Anthony Joshua, bless his heart. Prayers to his family and friends. But yeah, major, major dub. I would agree. People falling off, dub. Drake's album not coming out, petty dub. Petty dub. Petty dub. SZA for the GNX tour. Absolutely. Absolutely. Doechii also. Yeah. I have no idea who that person is. So I have no idea what it is that you're talking about. This is not a RICO lawsuit. This is speaking of dubs, gang. Okay, let me look in my I haven't looked in my email. Let me look for any alerts. Drake has been sued again. And Aiden Ross has been sued again. But this could be the case that went from state to federal. So give me a second. I talked about this. Nope, this is different. This is in the Eastern District of Virginia. Oh boy. Let me download. God, this boy is always fucking up my day. This is not what I had planned today. Let me do a couple things. Jesus Christ. You know, I did think that he was going to get sued again in the first quarter, first month of this year. Um it was filed yesterday. So I guess technically it's not the first lawsuit of this year because it was filed in 2025. Give me a second. You just changed you just changed the focus of this live. So give me a second to find the last thumbnail of Drake and Aiden Ross being sued so I can use it again. There it is. Let's see, I need a screenshot of this. It's not a RICO though. People are, that's for the sake of attention. Update the little file. This boy gets sued a lot. Lord have mercy. Let me download this. I'm actually just want to say, just for the sake of tooting my own horn here, I'm punching through here. Download that. Let's go over here and update this live. Drake sued again. Let's upload this thumbnail, shall we? Yeah, let's do that. Save that. If y'all would refresh this live and share it, that would be fantabulous. Update the Discord. Jesus Christ. Okay, now let me get this file. This live should be updated to say Drake and him sued again. Okay, we got the document. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Support the docket fund. Wow, man, it's the last day of the year. It took one final definitive L. He was sued again, and we will read the document in just a moment. But speaking of L, see what I did there? Stranger Things is over. If you don't want spoilers, bounce. I'm not about to get into the and then I'm not going to do that, but as folks populate, we'll talk about Drake's latest lawsuit in just a second. This is the funniest shit right here. Oh my god, this is so funny. So, Stranger Things has ended. So I think it was a mistake to separate out. I think it was a mistake to have 3 sections of this season. I think it should have been 2. separating the finale from everything else really killed the vibe in a huge way. Uh, I will I will read to you my single thread because didn't nobody say nothing. But this is my synopsis. Okay. Okay, so I started at like 5:52. I started on time, so I started it at 5 o'clock. So yeah, almost an hour in, and then it went like this. Wow, first death of the finale. There's a lot of monologues and another monologue. Okay, one fan theory proven right. The way I just had to stop for 15 minutes because a raccoon came onto the patio to get Oscar's food. That was a whole ordeal because Oscar was like, squabble up. Okay. Another monologue, and someone else died. Another monologue, another monologue. Oh, so many people are going to be pissed off. That was my live blow by blow of the season finale of Stranger Things. Wow. First death of the finale. There's a lot of monologues and another monologue. Okay, one fan theory proven right, another monologue, and someone else died. Another monologue, another monologue. So many people are going to be pissed off. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'm not one of those like Stranger Things, kind of people, but at the time this show aired, I had a 15-year-old in my house, and we are a sci-fi family, if nothing else. So we obviously were into Stranger Things, and Stranger Things 1 through 3 slaps. So good. Really, really enjoyable. 4, 5, eh, 5. I was really underwhelmed. There were a lot of people on the internet who felt like it should have a disastrous ending. They kept saying like, "Oh, the Duffer Brothers confirmed 5 or 6 deaths or whatever." That doesn't happen, okay? I'm not gonna get into who, what, where. I'm not gonna do that. But that doesn't happen. It has, keep in mind this is an 80s coming of age, right? Adventure story. And it has an 80s coming of age adventure story ending. And when I watched it last night, I was like, "It's kinda lame." When I thought about it this morning, I thought, I think actually the problem is, uh, I think it's a both and situation. I think that the season finale is kind of lame. It could have been more interesting. And as for how, like, final scenes ends, I think that we're a little jaded as a society. And it says something that we're disappointed that there wasn't more death and destruction to make it seem more believable. When first of all, the whole thing is made up, but also it's a very specific take on a very specific kind of genre. So, those are my thoughts. I got nothing. I got nothing on the Game of Thrones, and I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. Yeah, 1 through 3 still slaps. I rewatched Stranger Things, while I was in my vegetative state this week. I rewatched a solid chunk of the entire, series, and yeah, 1 through 3 slaps. Really good. Great characters. The other thing that I thought to myself is it would really suck. Writing a TV show and having to figure out the ending would really, really suck. And, not that I would ever be in this position, but who knows? You know? I think if I were ever in that position, I think I would owe it to myself and everybody who has appreciated my show to, like, kind of have some private, like, forums with fans to just hear their thoughts and hear their theories and see if there's anything in there that could be expounded upon more in the show. Not to write to the fans, but fans are smart. And a couple days ago, I went down the rabbit hole of watching fan theories about what the ending was gonna be. The fourth wall was broken was the dumbest and definitely not what happens. But there was another specific fan theory about Joyce and Henry's generation that I really loved, and that clearly is there in the background. We've just never seen it. It would have been nice to know more, and there were, millions of fans that were anticipating by the end of the show, and they come close to it, but they don't go there, and I think a lot of people were extremely disappointed about that. I was disappointed, but again, this isn't like my, "Oh, this is my show." I haven't had a show like that in a long time, so, um, yeah, it would have been nice if they could have heard that from fans before and just thought to themselves, "Could we fit that in?" Because they could have. They really could have fit that in, and it would have been another nice layer of the lore of Henry and, again, the generation before the kids. I agree. They sure did. They sure did. And, you don't wanna write to the fans because that makes it really predictable. I thought that the idea of going in a little bit deeper on, Henry and the Henry and Joyce's and the parents' generation could have been extremely illuminating, and they could have used it as a plot device. I mean, they really could have done anything with it, and they do something with it. It's interesting, but it would have been nice if that had been woven out throughout a couple seasons and not necessarily just this one. I think that would have been really, really fascinating to see. And, um, I also think my overriding thought when, cue, cue the credits was Stranger Things will be back. Stranger Things will be back. Give it 5, maybe 10. It'll be back. They'll have 1 or 2 cast members who will be series regulars, but then it will be, you know, the next generation. Stranger Things will be back. That was kind of clear as day to me with some of what they show about what happens to the characters after, you know, when they go off to live their lives. I was like, "Oh, yeah. Couldn't have said it more clearly that at some point in time, this show is going to be back." Not the Bushes. Yes, very much could. Very much could. So, that's the that on that. Um, kinda glad it's over. Sick and tired of hearing about it and seeing it everywhere. Okay, well, shout out to the chat for keeping us all in the know, because I certainly didn't see this. Because again, my brain is still in a vegetative state. I've been playing video games all morning. Yeah, yeah. Mercy. I have to remember to turn on notifications for this. Well, my prediction the other day was right when I said we gonna keep talking about Drake because, one, the appeal, Drake v. UMG, but also he's being sued for several things, and boy, oh boy. So this was filed yesterday in the Eastern District of Virginia. Plaintiffs Lashana Ridley and Tiffany Hines, by and through their attorneys, bring this action individually and on behalf of all others similarly situated. I ain't got my glasses on. That's why my tongue is not working. Just give me that, okay? Against defendants Sweepstakes Ltd, doing business as Stake.us, Aubrey Drake Graham, personally known as Drake, Aiden Ross, heretofore in this document known as Ross, and George Nguyen, heretofore in this document known as Nguyen. Collectively, defendants. Plaintiffs make the following allegations upon information and belief, except those allegations as to the plaintiffs or their attorneys, which are based on personal knowledge. I wasn't really ready for this, but we're going to do it. It's 22 pages. We're going to do it. I ain't got my glasses on. Happy New Year, beautiful. Good to see you. This consumer class action seeks to stop Stake.us, an illegal online gambling platform promoted by Drake, Ross, and Nguyen, and used by Drake, Ross, and Nguyen to obscure transmissions of money in furtherance of their ongoing music botting campaigns. Oh, wait. Wait. Wait, 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 wait. Wait, wait, wait. I wasn't ready. This just shot to the top of the list. Thank you, beautiful. Hit the like button. Share the live. I'm gonna start again because I literally choked. I literally choked. Okay. Let's all take a couple deep breaths. Okay. Okay. Good Lord. Jesus. Oh, hello, Poison Ivy. Oh, wow. Oh, God. I don't know where they are. Okay. We're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. Lord have mercy. Just randomly, just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like a good day, Oh my God. Okay. This consumer class action seeks to stop Stake.us, an illegal online gambling platform promoted by Drake, Ross, and Nguyen, and used by Drake, Ross, and Nguyen to obscure transmissions of money in furtherance of their ongoing music botting campaigns. From continuing to prey upon consumers and to impose civil penalties on all defendants to deter future misconduct. Uh, Amen. Hallelujah. Stake.us, a U.S. storefront for Stake.com, has been operating as one of the largest and most profitable illegal online casinos since at least 2022. Stake.us was created and marketed to U.S. consumers as a social casino that purportedly does not permit real money gambling to bypass applicable United States federal and Commonwealth of Virginia gambling regulations, attempting unsuccessfully to hide behind the facade of a safe and free gambling experience. Stake.us misrepresents itself to regulators and consumers. In reality, it operates as an illegal online casino. Stake.us offers nearly 2,000 casino games and permits players to place bets using specialized casino chips and to cash out their winnings. Stake.us offers two types of virtual currency: gold coins and stake cash. Gold coins have no monetary value and cannot be converted into real money. However, stake cash can be redeemed for cryptocurrency or digital gift cards at a rate of one stake cash to one United States dollar. Stake.us bundles every purchase of gold coins with stake cash. Thus, when a player purchases gold coins to engage in casino games, they are also purchasing stake cash. If a player is lucky and wins, they can cash out their stake cash for cryptocurrency. But if a player loses their stake cash and wishes to continue gambling, they must buy more worthless gold coins, which will be bundled with more stake cash. This is a great brush up because all of these details are fuzzy since the last in-depth reading of a lawsuit over this, but this mirrors exactly what we read in the other lawsuits around stake. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Drake and Ross are paid by Stake to promote the platform. The two have engaged in live stream gambling, wagering large sums of money that was provided surreptitiously by Stake. In other words, though Drake and Ross purported to be gambling with their own stake cash, it was in fact provided to them by the house. Didn't we just say the other day that he's decided to open up a what is he doing? He's opening up a studio in a it's not a casino. It's not a casino. It's a strip club. I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth right now. Oh my god. What? Okay. All right. Stake has bombarded consumers with advertisements appearing on social media platforms depicting its games as safe, legal, and fun. But these casino games are illegal in Virginia and throughout the United States and have inflicted harm on consumers across the Commonwealth who have lost real money chasing gambling wins on the stake platform. Drake, Ross, and Nguyen have also made use of Stake, including through its U.S. storefront Stake.us, to directly transfer money between and among themselves using Stake's tipping program, an unlimited and wholly unregulated money transmitter that appears to exist outside the oversight of any financial regulator. Defendants have utilized Stake's tipping program to transfer gambling proceeds wagered through on the Stake platform. In addition, through Stake's tipping function, defendants have financed their combined artificial streaming to create fraudulent streams of Drake's music, fabricate popularity, disparage competitors and music label executives, distort recommendation algorithms, and distribute financing for all of the foregoing while concealing the flow of funds. Let me get there. Let me cut. Defendants have financed their combined artificial botting to create fraudulent streams of Drake's music, fabricate popularity, disparage competitors and music label executives, distort recommendation algorithms, and distribute financing for all of the foregoing while concealing the flow of funds. At the heart of the scheme, Drake, acting directly and through willing and knowledgeable co-conspirators, has deployed automated bots and streaming farms to artificially inflate play counts of his music across major flat pop. I'm gonna have to write another book. That's what I just realized. It's not. I can see the words just fine. I can see the words just fine. It's my brain. Okay, it's my brain. Things are crossing over in my thoughts are shooting in from one side. No, baby, this would be book number 3. I've already written 2 books and released 2 books. I'm gonna have to write another goddamn book. Well. How the turntables turn. Yeah, that's a motherfucking word. Now this is what these 2 things coming together is tripping me out. I'm thinking about who was it? Snoop's cousin who is suing over the the Spotify thing and he uses Drake as an example, their lawyers had to be reading this like, wait, what? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I had that thought as well. I had that thought as well. Oh my God. Well, this is a private lawsuit. This is a civil lawsuit. It's at the federal level, but it's not a government federal case. Okay, this is still a civil lawsuit. Two women trying to make it a class action. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Man, I'm glad I had a little bit of a sandwich before I started this live because this was not what I was planning to do. We were gonna watch a little something and kiki on that. We'll do that later. Damn. Damn. I'm gonna have to look something up when I get to the end of this document. Lazy Cloud 9 criminal investigation. When? Stick a pin in that. Okay. I need to look something up, but I'm not gonna do it right now. Hey, beautiful. You're gonna get the breakdown as we're going through it. Okay. Drake, Aiden Ross, I think his name was Michael Nguyen, last name Nguyen, and Stake.com and Stake US and its parent companies are being sued in a civil federal class action. So it appears to be two women who are probably represented by a very large law firm that has a documented history of winning class actions. Okay, they are being sued. We're only on page 3 of the document, and I've choked twice. So you're gonna continue to get the breakdown. It really explains itself as we go through the document, okay? But what this what makes this particular lawsuit very interesting is that the plaintiffs are alleging that Drake, Aiden Ross, and another individual are using an internal function of Stake, the tipping function, which appears to be unregulated, okay, to move money and also to pay for botting. Through Stake's tipping function, defendants have financed their combined artificial botting to create fraudulent streams of Drake's music, fabricate popularity, disparage competitors and music label executives, distort recommendation algorithms, and distribute financing for all of the foregoing while concealing the flow of funds. Again, this is a civil, not a criminal lawsuit. It's at the federal level in the Commonwealth of Virginia. At the heart of this scheme, Drake, acting directly and and through willing and knowledgeable co-conspirators, has deployed automated bots and streaming farms to artificially inflate play counts of his music across major platforms such as Spotify. These inauthentic streams, inject via interstate digital pathways, were calibrated to mislead royalty and recommendation engines, manufacture popularity, distort playlists and charts, and divert both value and audience attention. In tandem, this manipulation has suppressed authentic artists and narrowed consumers' access to legitimate content by undermining the integrity of curated experiences. Stake.us's user-to-user tipping and encrypted internal transfer mechanisms have fueled and enabled payments to bot operators and amplifiers to be hidden from public or regulatory view. One example of a publicly documented large value tip is a $100,000 tipping transfer between Drake and Ross in 2023. In December 2024, Drake gave away large sums of money in partnership with Ross and Stake as part of his Drizmas giveaway. These tips and many others like them cycled among defendants Drake, Ross, and Nguyen, underwriting botting and paid engagement campaigns. Days before filing this complaint, defendant Drake gave defendant Ross a $220,000 car as a gift. Stake.us's platform's design, which masks counterparties and camouflages withdrawals as generic transactions, stymie scrutiny and obstruct tracing of illicit proceeds. Oh, Jesus. Fateless, are you okay? Do you need smelling salts? This is what they are alleging. This is what they are describing. They are describing money laundering. And I'll tell you something, the federal government doesn't give a good goddamn about Drake, but they do care about loopholes that could be used to fund terrorism. This is written to get attention. These are damning allegations. He's a white supremacist, so he's been on my shit list since he opened his mouth. We're gonna come back to that after we get through the document. This is what the lawsuit is plainly alleging, that the tipping function was used to move money invisibly, and that money was used for botting. Eastern District of Virginia does not play around. The problem is, I don't think the Eastern District of Virginia has a US attorney right now. That was Halligan's turf. I'd have to triple check. The other thing is that the state attorney general, I'm just gonna say this, and then we're gonna get back to the document, because a lot of people are like, how could this become, a criminal thing? It could become a criminal thing if the feds pick it up. It could become, a criminal thing if a state decides to investigate or prosecute it in some way. But it's not something that will automatically just become a criminal matter. It's something that would have to be investigated by a body that has the power to do criminal investigations. Okay, so Stake.us's platform's design, which masks counterparties and camouflages withdrawals as generic transactions, stymie scrutiny and obstruct tracing of illicit proceeds. Tipping proceeds and other tipping proceeds and other transfers on and from Stake.us went directly or indirectly from defendant Drake to, through, or with the knowledge and assistance of defendant Ross, and on from there to defendant Nguyen. Nguyen served as a facilitator and operational broker, alternately converting stake-based cryptocurrency to cash or receiving cash from stake-transferred cryptocurrency proceeds. From there, Nguyen interfaced with bot vendors, supervised coordinated amplification strategies, and integrated paid clipping campaigns. The clipping campaigns were facilitated through the clipping service and affiliated networks on the X, Discord, and Kick platforms. Kick, in turn, is a betting platform financially underwritten by the founders of Stake. Public posts, chat logs, leaked communications, and other records documenting Nguyen's direct handling of funds through multiple payment platforms, orchestration of narrative surges, and amplification alongside and as an instrument of Drake and Ross. Plaintiffs and the class are Stake.us users who have been misled by Stake.us's misinterpretations that Stake.us is a legal, harmless, and safe gaming site when it is, in fact, not legal, not harmless, and not safe. Stake.us preys on consumers in Virginia and nationwide who are lured into real money gambling, exposing consumers to substantial risk of gambling addictions and jeopardizing their and their families' financial well-being. Each of the plaintiffs was influenced to participate and to continue to participate after their initial participation on the Stake platform by the online promotional activities of defendant Drake as viewed by each of the plaintiffs. Plaintiffs have been further damaged by the false marketing manipulations and abuses of defendant Drake, who, by his own public announcements, has been paid some $100 million per year to promote Stake, as well as defendant Ross and Nguyen, who have participated directly in the marketing of Stake.us as documented in their many online posts across multiple platforms advertising and endorsing Stake. Plaintiffs assert claims under the racketeer. Oh, okay. So this is a civil RICO case, not a criminal RICO case. Okay. Plaintiffs assert claims under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. So this is a civil RICO lawsuit and the Virginia Consumer Protection Act. Plaintiffs seek damages, treble damages under RICO, restitution and disgorgement, injunctive and declaratory relief, attorney's fees and costs, and all other relief deemed just and proper. I just learned what treble damages are because my little case over here has potential treble damages attached. That is when a court can triple or multiply your damages. Teach you a lesson. Okay, so it goes through jurisdiction and venue. And the parties goes through all of Stake. Defendant Aubrey Drake Graham is a Canadian domiciliary. At all relevant times, Drake engaged in nationally promoted live streams and financial promotions connected to Stake.us that reached this district and caused the others harm The other harms to class members residing within this district as described herein. Defendant Aiden Ross is an online media personality and streamer who, at all relevant times, coordinated live streams and promotions on platforms accessible within this district, including streams featuring stake.us. Tipping while maintaining close relationships with Drake and Nguyen relevant to the conduct alleged. Defendant George, I said Michael, sorry. Defendant George Nguyen is, upon information and belief, an Australian national residing in New South Wales who, at all times relevant, he's in Australia. I'm just let me gather myself. Shit. This is it. Yeah. Anita Maxwell. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Anita Maxwell, sponsored by Steak in Australia. I knew that Steak was founded in Australia and that the founder is from there. So, what's another way that this could become a criminal investigation? Australia. Tipping is an immediate international liability for this company. If this is true about tipping, this is an immediate international problem for them. Immediate. Immediate. I can't I'm like, bleh, immediate. This is an immediate liability for them. Thank you. Afro butterfly. I'm ungatherable at this point. I mean, I'm doing my best. Jesus. I'm saying that I'm definitely going to need a Drake lawsuit chart for 2026. I'm definitely like for real, we've joked about it before, but I'm actually going to have to create a visualizer because this is crazy. I am genuinely stunned. Shout out to everybody who's watching. We got quite a few bit of folks up in here. You can wave, say where you're watching from. This is stunning. Good for you. Good for you. This is truly stunning. Truly stunning. Do you think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. I'm gonna need to put something together because man, this is another reason why I'm glad that we read everything. You know, it's like, oh, another lawsuit. We could have not read this one. We could have not read, several of the others that are either against him or mention him. Even the mentioning of him in the residuals lawsuit, in the streaming residuals lawsuit. This is crazy. This is really crazy. This is crazy. Wow. This is Hey, Sweden. How you doing? Texas, New Hey. NYC, yeah, and hit the like button and share this live. Wow, well, cold, dirty bastard. I'm not gonna put that on screen, but hello, and leave the dogs out of it. Truly stunning. Truly, truly stunning. Yeah, I'm gonna have to write another book. Okay. Sure. Okay. So George Nguyen, Australian national, residing in New South Wales. At all times relevant are co-founded any adventures, including Weekdays Capital, and Clipping, and used online aliases, including Grand Wizard. Nguyen coordinated botting, facilitation, and paid amplification across U.S.-facing platforms and transacted in payments mass through stake.us and stake.com, including through their tipping features in connection with the same. Stake has operated since at least 2022. Stake.com is banned from operating in Virginia and indeed anywhere in the United States. Stake.us was created by Stake.com's founders to bypass such restrictions. .us is almost identical to .com, as both websites offer the same or substantially the same content, including online casino games such as slots, table games, and live dealer games. We talked about this in one of the other lawsuits, looked at images and all of that, had lots of questions about the live tables, right? I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the lives, and I'm gonna have to make a chart, and I'm gonna have to start keeping an actual notepad to keep these cases straight. Mods, throw them links around. Okay. Okay. Here's how it works. Stake offers users two types of virtual currency, gold coins and stake cash. Gold coins do not have any monetary value and are described by Stake as solely for entertainment purposes. Stake cash, on the other hand, can be cashed out at a one-to-one exchange rate for US dollars and thus serves as the currency with which most bets are made. Users can buy gold coins or earn them through various promotions, and Stake characterizes gold coins as the primary currency for casual gameplay. With each purchase of gold coins, however, Stake bundles a set quantity of Stake cash, which has actual monetary value and is the true currency with which Stake users place bets. Indeed, every dollar spent on purchasing gold coins, Stake bundles a nearly equivalent amount of Stake cash. For example, as of the date of this complaint, a user could purchase 200,000 gold coins and $20.05 in Stake cash for $20 USD. The Stake US platform allows users to play casino games, roulette, slot machines, which are pure games of chance. The outcome of these games is determined by random number generators. Users may bet Stake cash on these online casino games with the prospect of a large payout, often many multiples of what was bet. Stake's virtual casino games involve no skill or strategy. .us also features live dealer games, which allows users to interact with human dealers and experience what it would be like to be at a land-based casino while you're sitting comfortably at home behind your computer screen or on your mobile device. Stakes live dealer games are filmed in a studio and players may bet on the results. For example, of the spin of the roulette wheel or the next blackjack card. Stakes live dealer games, like their counterparts in a brick and mortar casino, are games of chance. .us thus generates revenue from unwitting and often vulnerable American consumers, incentivizing .us to continually deceive American consumers and regulators. .us conducts an illegal gambling business within the meaning of federal law, including by operating casino-type wagering in violation of multiple state laws involving 5 or more persons and in substantially continuous operation with substantial daily revenue. Publicly filed civil enforcement and consumer actions across multiple states accuse .us of unlawful gambling operations, including Minnesota, South Carolina, Massachusetts, Alabama, Illinois, and California. I do believe it's the Minnesota case that's gone up to the federal level. These allegations are pleaded not for the truth of the underlying claims, but to demonstrate stake's role, intent, common purpose, and the predicate acts, showing continuity of racketeering activity within the last 10 years. Stake's online operations also violate Virginia law, which prohibits online gambling. By providing a free, accessible online gambling forum accessible to consumers in the Commonwealth, Stake is flagrantly violating Virginia's law and jeopardizing the health and safety of Virginia residents. Okay, and then moving into deceptive marketing practices and the role of Drake, Ross, and Nguyen. So .com originally created as an online cryptocurrency casino that could be accessed, albeit unlawfully, by consumers in the United States by use of a VPN, obscuring the user's true locations. .com's founders later developed .us, an almost identical version of .com, to further entrench itself as an online casino platform in the US. .us advertises that its social casino offers a safe and free gambling experience. This misleading statement deceives consumers into believing that they are participating in harmless gameplay when in fact they are being lured into real money gambling. Well, it's definitely not free if you even have to pay for gold coins. Drake, Ross, and Nguyen have been zealous promoters of Stake. Drake has been paid, by his own admission, $100 million per year for his promotional services. Drake, Ross, and Nguyen have further incentive to promote and mask the true nature and extent of their conduct on and around Stake. Since at least 2022, Drake and those acting under his direction, including Ross and Nguyen, have made use of Stake.com and Stake.us to covertly finance the orchestrated procurement of botting and streaming farm activities to artificially inflate the number of plays attributed to Drake's catalog across major digital streaming services such as Spotify. Stake.us facilitates this covert financing scheme through its user-to-user tipping and internal transfers that effectively obscure the identities of counterparties. Through these mechanisms, withdrawals are recorded merely as stake transactions, concealing their true origins and recipients. These transactional features enable the concealment, covert routing, and disbursement of funds to bot operators, intermediaries, and amplifiers integral to sustaining and expanding the artificial streaming and amplification operations. For these reasons, among others, Drake and Ross maintain a monetized and closely intertwined relationship with Stake.us. Drake and Ross have exchanged high dollar amounts above US currency transaction report thresholds. Okay, so Drake and Ross have exchanged high dollar amount tips during live streams, including a widely publicized 6-figure transaction. These live streams are also used to promote Stake and push its gambling services onto Drake and Ross's millions of online followers. Specifically, one Kick live stream captured exchange of a $100,000 tip among Drake and Ross via Stake, with another instance evidencing a $10,000 tip. Additional stream record excuse me. Additional stream recordings reveal reiterated substantial exchanges between Drake and Ross routed through Stake, with ongoing streams of funds on information and belief totaling in the millions of dollars, amounts which, upon information and belief, have underwritten continued botting and amplification efforts. Just days before this complaint was filed, defendant Drake gifted a 220,000 card to defendant Ross. Payments between Drake and Ross extended beyond direct exchanges. Public records and leaked communications reveal intermediary transfers to bot vendors and logistics facilitators, including Nguyen, a known recipient of payments linked to clipping and amplification campaigns. Portions of funds transmitted through stakes tipping and internal transfers passed through to bot vendors and amplification intermediaries to perpetuate and scale manipulation activities. Nguyen, known in online forums as Grand Wizard Chat Nigga, or Grand Wizard CN, functioned and appears. He's Asian? Grand Wizard Chat Nigga? Anyway, this sorry ass motherfucker functioned and appears to continue to function as a broker and operational facilitator for these schemes. He is publicly connected to Weekdays Capital, and the clipping service, which orchestrated paid clipping campaigns intrinsically tied to streaming numbers and influencer content, including campaigns involving Drake and Ross. Nguyen actively promoted and participated in the clipping Discord server and received direct payments both from clipping administrators and separately from other co conspirators. Nguyen's public posts include corroboration by Ross, who on stream declared, "I'm friends with Grand Wizard, that's my dog," while tagging Drake's account. Drake has bet large sums on Stake and live streamed the event, further promoting Stake to his millions of followers. Stake.us publicly stated that Drake has been a longtime member of the Stake community, and ultimately a partnership was formed in which a new gaming experience will allow users to have a chance to win big alongside Drake. This type of giveaway will be on a magnitude unseen before. Drake's journey from player to a partner is documented on Stake's web properties, while Drake's social media accounts identify his partnership with Stake. During live stream events, Drake and Ross have made large bets on Stake using house money provided by Stake. This conduct simply encourages and influences the large fan base of Drake and Ross to make similarly large and or unwise bets, yet using Stake cash they purchase themselves. Well, that makes so much pathetic sense. Okay, so consumer harms, economic overcharge, and loss of the benefit of the bargain. Let me see if I can just get to the meat of it. A lot of it is repetitive. Stake and defendants create a predatory gambling environment, deliberately misleading consumers and exposing consumers to the risks of gambling addiction and jeopardizing the financial well being of consumers and their families. Stake further misleads consumers by identifying in its terms of service certain states where its use is prohibited. Virginia is not among the states identified in this list, thus leaving the impression that using stake is permissible in Virginia. Oh, the state attorney general is going to go after this. Yep. The enterprise has operated as a continuous coordinated unit since at least 2022, defined by explicit roles. .us is an illegal online casino earning profit by selling consumers gold coins and state cash and serving as a transactional infrastructure for routing, concealing, and distributing funds via tipping. Drake is a paid promoter and spokesperson for Stake and Finance, directed and reaped the benefits of streaming and social media manipulation. Ross is also a paid promoter for Stake and amplified.us as a casino and covert payment conduit. Nguyen was also paid to promote Stake and received money through Stake to broker, coordinate, and operate through bot vendors and clipping channels to artificially boost Drake's streams. The scheme has been executed on an ongoing basis persistently since at least 2022 and remains an ongoing and imminent threat of racketeering activity. .us, Drake, Ross, and Nguyen, together with bot vendors, streaming farm operators, and other facilitators known and unknown, associated to form an association in fact enterprise within the meaning of the law. The enterprise's common purpose was to facilitate illegal online gambling and to conceal, route, and distribute proceeds of the scheme through .us's pseudo-anonymous payment rails, using proceeds and other funds to enrich themselves and artificially inflate streaming counts of Drake's catalog. Roles and relationships were stable and continuous. Stake at all times served as a gambling platform and money transfer conduit through which payments could be concealed. Drake was paid to promote Stake and made and received payments through Stake and directed and benefited from artificial streaming and narrative amplification. Ross was paid to promote Stake and financed, promoted, and facilitated the routing of value, including via public and private tipping and large value transfers on Stake, while coordinating amplification with Nguyen. Nguyen further promoted Stake, sent and received payments through its tipping system, and brokered and interfaced with bot vendors and paid amplification pipelines, including through Weekdays Capital, and the clipping service. The enterprise engaged in and affected interstate and foreign commerce through the use of nationally accessible platforms, interstate wires, and cross-border payment and settlement networks. My money is on Australia to open an inquiry. Scheme and racketeering acts. Within the past 10 years, .us has been accused in multiple civil enforcement and consumer actions of operating unlawful gambling business in U.S. jurisdictions. These allegations are pleaded not for their truth, but to show Stake US's role, capacity, and propensity within RICO's 10-year window. The enterprise leveraged .us's platform and rails to facilitate and conceal schemes, proceeds, and to compensate participants. In executing and concealing the scheme, the enterprise utilized domestic and foreign financial institutions and processors to obtain, move, and disguise funds by means of materially false pretenses and omissions regarding the nature and purpose of transactions. The predicate acts were related in purpose, results, participants, victims, and methods, were repeated across releases, campaigns, and accounting periods, and present a threat of continued racketeering activity. The enterprise functioned as a continuing unit since at least 2022. Plaintiffs bring this action individually and on behalf of a class of similarly situated individuals pursuant to the federal rules of civil procedure. They seek to represent the following class or persons: all persons in the United States who created an account on or access stake.us and who purchased gold coins bundled with state cash and made and lost one or more wagers using state cash within the last 3 years. If I were one of these people and these lawsuits were floating around, this would be the law firm that I called. All of these law firms are saying the same thing. We want to represent everybody in the state and across the country affected in this way. This would be the law firm that I would call. But I don't gamble, so I don't qualify. In the alternative, plaintiffs seek to represent the following class or persons: all persons in Virginia who created an account on or accessed .us and who purchased gold coins bundled with cash and made and lost one or more wagers using cash within the last 3 years. Excluded from the class are defendants, their officers, directors, and affiliates, and any judicial officer assigned to this matter and their immediate families. Plaintiffs reserve the right to amend or modify the class definition in connection with their motion for class certification as a result of discovery at trial or as otherwise allowed by law. Plaintiffs bring this action individually and on behalf of all others similarly situated because there is a well-defined community of interest in the litigation and the proposed class is easily ascertainable. Okay. Technical things. Plaintiffs will fairly and adequately represent and protect the interests of the class. Counsel who represents plaintiffs are competent and experienced in litigating large consumer class actions. This is the best route to take. Okay, and the counts: violation of federal RICO, participation in an unlawful enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. This is for all defendants. Reallege the preceding paragraphs in this section. So everything they said already in this document, they reassert that in this section. Each defendant conducted or participated directly or indirectly in the enterprise's affairs through a pattern of racketeering activity affecting interstate and foreign commerce, including leveraging .us's unlawful gambling-related operations as a conduit within the last 10 years, as reflected in public enforcement and consumer actions, to facilitate and conceal the scheme in violation of law and to establish continuity of racketeering conduct. The predicate acts, okay, did that already. As a direct and proximate result of defendants' violations of the law, plaintiffs and the class suffered injury to business or property, including loss of the benefit of their bargain and loss of money and or property. They seek treble damages, costs, and reasonable attorney's fees. Count 2, RICO conspiracy. Plaintiffs reallege the preceding paragraphs as if alleged herein. Defendants knowingly agreed and conspired that one or more of them would conduct or participate in the enterprise's affairs through a pattern of racketeering activity. Overt acts in furtherance include dissemination of coordinated narratives and the routing and concealment of payments via .us tipping and internal transfers. Virginia Consumer Protection Act violation is count 3. This speaks to deceptive and misleading acts and practices in connection with consumer transactions affecting Virginia residents, including by misrepresenting the stake platform as a safe, harmless, and legal platform when it in fact constitutes an illegal gambling platform. Defendants' conduct constitutes misrepresentations and omissions of material facts, false representations as to characteristics, standard, and qualities of the service consumed, and deception likely to mislead reasonable consumers in violation of the Virginia Consumer Protection Act. Plaintiffs in the class suffered ascertainable losses as a result, including overpayments and loss of the benefit of their bargain. The benefit of their bargain If I'm recalling correctly, because I haven't heard this term in probably over a decade, but if I'm recalling correctly, benefit of their bargain is you make your choice and accept the bargain that comes along with that based on information that is presented to you. When information is presented to you that is faulty or false and it is intentionally misleading, you lose the benefit of being able to bargain, right? Reasonably, because you're not being presented with accurate information. So they want this declared a class action, uh, damages no less than 5 million, including statutory, compensatory, consequential, punitive, and enhanced damages and attorney's fees were authorized by law. Restitution and disengorgement of amounts wrongfully obtained by defendants, injunctive and declaratory relief to prevent further unlawful conduct, pre and post judgment interest, attorney fees, blah, 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 granting other and further relief. Okay. Now let me actually go and look up this docket. Uh, and see if there are any attachments to this filing. I look up Drake so much on Court Listener that it automatically takes me to the last Drake case that I've looked up. Whenever I start to type Court Listener, it's like, you want UMG? What one do you want? There it is. Let me turn on my alerts. Nope, no attachments. Wow. I'm stunned. It's a minimum of 5 million. A minimum of 5 million. Okay, but we're talking about, when they start talking about trouble, there's a lot of different layers here of damages, and they put in everything. So they put in statutory damages. Statutory means that in the statute, the damages are defined, right? So if you are found to have violated that thing, the damages are defined therein. The damages could be 5 million if you violated that statute. I also noticed that some of the damages can be trebled by the court, which means they can be tripled or multiplied by whatever the statute says they can be multiplied by, up to a certain amount of money. So they didn't get into this for 5 million. 5 million's cute. This law firm, I also need to look and see who that is. This law firm didn't get into this for 5 mil. That's cute. That's couch cushion change. We're talking tens of millions of dollars in damages at the end of the day. Tens of millions of dollars in damages. The attorney's fees is going to be millions of dollars. Attorney's fees could easily be 5 mil. Parties and attorneys. Impressa Legal Group. Arlington, Virginia. Yep. Oh, these white people are making a lot of money at this law firm. Yeah, so they're not big law, but they don't need to be. They have seriously reputable attorneys, subject matter experts in several different areas. Yeah, yeah, they're not playing around. I don't think that I gave away any spoilers that tell you what happens. I talk about it. I talk about my impression of it. Um, Chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that I spoiled anything. I didn't talk about plot lines, what happens to characters. I wasn't specific about anything, so that's what I would say. But there are cues in the chat on screen when the discussion starts and then when the discussion ends. And it's tagged as a spoiler, but I don't think I spoiled anything. Man, I this lawsuit is really shocking. This lawsuit is really shocking, and they allege a lot, but they are keeping it really close to the vest because there is not a single uh attachment. But they, make it clear that they have things, right? They make it clear that they have things. They've got things that were in the public domain, and they've got leaked things as well. So, I'm I'm stunned. I'm stunned because this is the first time, the bot allegations have been around Drake forever. Forever. This is somebody saying that they've pinned the tail to the donkey, that they have discovered the mode and means, who is involved, and how they are doing it. This is a I mean, the other lawsuits are a problem. They're a problem. For anybody who's being sued, you're being sued, it's a problem, right? Um, the other lawsuits are a problem, but this is somebody saying, "We've pinned the tail on the donkey. We've discovered how they're doing it." And they're using this unregulated channel to move money for very specific purposes. Hugely problematic. Hugely, 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 hugely problematic. Whenever I talk about him, I get hundreds of botted comments. I had a couple lives dedicated to him during the Megan the Stallion, and maybe one scripted video. And yeah, has never happened before I started talking about Aiden Ross. One or two here or there, but this is a very obvious flood of comments. I've never heard of this man before, and we know that I don't pay attention to Livingston Allen. Um, so I definitely don't pay attention to who's on his team or in his orbit, but this is probably a light bulb moment for a lot of people because yeah, this is probably just a light bulb moment for a lot of people reading this lawsuit because it makes me think of at least one other case that we've talked about related to Aiden Ross. I wonder if Sunstar gambles. It's shocking. I'm shocked. I'm truly shocked. The massive allegations. These are massive allegations. Massive. Massive. This is a terrible and unwelcomed comment. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the foggiest idea. Yeah, it's curious if any of those men moved money between them, but who knows? I don't know. This is enough. We've got a whole fucking 5-course meal with just this. Truly shocking. Nah, I hope they do too. I hope they do too. That's what I'm saying. I nominate, my for funsies prediction in my head is that Australia opens an inquiry and says, "Let's see what's going on over here." For real, for real. What? You know? It's I'm wow. Rock Nation will crumble for this. You gonna knock yourself out. I'm not watching a fucking thing. Fuck them. I'm not watching a damn thing having to do with none of them. I'm not doing no independent private investigation to connect the dots and shit. I pay attention to what's on the docket. I need a board just to keep all the different Drake dockets straight in my head so that I don't confuse myself or other people when I'm talking about them here on the channel. But, they have undoubtedly been notified by this law firm that they are being sued. They haven't been served the lawsuit yet. It was just filed yesterday, but that does not mean that they have not been noticed by the attorneys that they intend to file an action against them. And therefore, under the federal rules of civil procedure and the, state of Virginia, blah, 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 they have to preserve relevant records. That includes streams, text messages, banking receipt, all of the things that you can imagine. They would have already received notification before this lawsuit was filed to preserve those things. Guess what? If you don't preserve those things, and it's found out that you then tried to get rid of them or cover some shit up, that will come back to bite your ass in a civil case. They don't call it, destroying evidence. They call it spoliation. You spoiled something. And that can come back to bite you in the ass. And we've seen it here on this channel where the jury can be instructed that you did some shit to cover up a scheme, and they can only perceive your actions to be negative and having nothing to do with your innocence. Um, and you can also just straight out lose a case. A judge can find in favor of the plaintiff depending on how egregious your spoliation is. So, but some shit you can't get rid of, right? Once you start drawing down money, basically what they're saying is that this is, think of it as tipping is a pipeline. It's an invisible pipeline to move money. But so where it goes in, you can see where it goes in. Then there's some invisibility. But you can't necessarily see where it pops out, but you can see where it's drawn down. You can see where it's drawn down, and they can't get rid of that. Those are banking records that they can't get rid of. So they can try and cover some shit up, but they're not going to be successful. They wrote this like they have them dead to rights. Dead to rights. I just think it's in the boldness of they are moving money. They're preying on people, first of all, to get this money. Then they're moving money illegally for the purposes of supporting Drake, increasing Drake's streaming numbers, manipulating the narrative around Drake online. manipulating the algo, all of those things. That is crazy fucking work. I don't know. I don't pay attention. Are you new here? Because they're not even a part of this discussion. Yeah, this isn't about UMG or Drake's unfounded allegations against them that were thrown out by the court. That's not the case we're talking about. We're talking about a civil lawsuit against Drake, Stake, Aiden Ross, and a racist Asian dude. My mind is blown. I really am just mind blown, y'all. Mind blown. Mind blown. Mind blown titties, I guess. I don't even know. I'm so shocked. No, that's not true. I'll correct you there just a little bit. Stephanie Williams says Drake already petitioned for documents at the attempt to gain evidence for UMG, Spotify, iHeart, Payola, and botting, but they found nothing. He was projecting. They didn't find nothing. He withdrew his petitions before the court could rule on them. His pre-action petitions before he filed the lawsuit, they were never ruled on by either court. He withdrew them and filed his lawsuit instead. He withdrew one, filed a lawsuit. A couple weeks later, withdrew the second one. They were never ruled on by the court. So the reason why he didn't find anything is because he never waited for the court to determine if he could have a license to fish. And that was, again, for something else entirely. Baby, flabbergasted titties is absolutely accurate. Stealing money from fans you groomed into becoming gambling addicts is crazy. Oh, that's not true. They don't owe so much money that they are untouchable. That's not true. But haul them out? Yeah. No. Oh, okay. Well, apparently, yes, somebody got the airlock. I missed that. My bad. It happens. It happens. They come in all excited and then fuck it up for themselves and find themselves right back outside the airship. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Gotta love humidity says, question. Since this is a civil case, couldn't it just be settled outside of court, i.e., a money grab? Okay, well, an out of court settlement and a money grab are not the same thing. Okay, they're not the same thing. Um, Nobody pays a settlement without liability, even if the liability is the cost of a lawsuit. Nobody pays a settlement without liability. But an out of court settlement and a money grab, two completely different things. Um, Keep in mind that this is the fifth or sixth lawsuit against Stake. This is probably the second or third lawsuit against Stake that includes Drake and Aiden Ross. These are being filed across the country in several different states. One of them is going to push through to a class action lawsuit. Most class action lawsuits settle. Okay? That's the other thing that you need to know. Is most class action lawsuits settle. They don't go to a jury. They settle, right? You've probably gotten an email at some point in time in your life letting you know that you're entitled to 38 cents because a class action lawsuit filed against such and such company that you happen to have services through has been settled. And the company has agreed to blah, 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 blah. So most class actions of these type settle. That doesn't mean it's a money grab. And it's way too early to try and quantify something as a money grab. And I don't like it. I'm just going to tell you from personal experience that it is a bias and a stereotype to say that or to assume that because a case is settled that it doesn't have any merit. My son died when he was 3 years old. He died because of medical racism at a world-renowned hospital right here in my own backyard. I sued them. We settled. That was not a money grab. That was the most efficient way to handle the situation. If I felt like I needed to go to trial, I would have gone to trial. I got everything that I could possibly get that was on my list of things to get, including a written apology to my other children for them to have when they got older, apologizing for killing their brother. It was very important for me to have that. So when people are like, "Oh, they just suing and then they go settle, it's just a money grab." That is insulting. And that just shows, and I'm not speaking to you specifically, you just sparked it for me. It shows an ignorance to the complexities of the civil legal system. because when you're getting to a lawsuit, it's, "I gotta sue you to do the right fucking thing." Because trust me, I definitely tried to get them to not kill my child through medical negligence based on racism. I definitely tried. My whole family tried for over a year to get them to not kill my 3-year-old child. The only thing that was left was legal action. Yeah, people think in general, lawsuits are just a money grab lawsuit. The lawsuit is the last fucking straw. It's the last straw. It's, "We done tried." There's no lawsuit that just comes in out of left field. And they're like, "I'm shocked. We never." That's not the norm. So I don't believe that, most lawsuits are just a money grab, or that a settlement indicates they were just trying to get a quick payout and come to a settlement. You have to assume so much about the parties, the facts of the case, evidence. You have to make so much assumption to get there. And we don't know anything. We haven't seen anything yet. This has just been filed. It's written aggressively and assertively, and I mean, they are asserting some facts. Is it the most consequential of the lawsuits filed with regard to stake? It is for Drake. Otherwise, they're all even. But this one explicitly says, "You have turned your fan base into a group of gambling degenerates so that you could steal from them to enrich yourself, not just through that direct their losses to stake, are, pay, or excuse me, contribute to, what it is that stake decides they're going to pay you each contractual year, but that you are then using proceeds. You're laundering money. Basically, you're concealing money and then enriching yourself in other areas, boosting streaming. So the residuals are funky. You're defrauding people on that front. They actually put that in this lawsuit. Is crazy fucking work. And then a lot of lawsuits have mediation and arbitration built in, right? Like, I didn't have a choice whether or not to go through. We went through arbitration for the lawsuit related to my son. And we had a retired judge who was really just like, everybody's feelings aside. We had to explain what our claim was. And then she basically turned to the hospital and told them how much money they could expect to lose between arbitration and trial. Not how much money they could expect to lose at trial, but how much money they could expect to lose litigating. And then she came up with an alternative number and was like, "You could pay that out to the family today and be done." And along with the other things that we had, there were other things that I wanted in perpetuity for as long as the hospital exists to be in place. So I was not just suing for money. I was suing because I wanted to make sure they didn't kill anybody else's children. They did. So, but arbitration was a natural, it was written in as a requirement. We could have not come to an agreement and could have kept going, but, they agreed to not a lot of money. And if you're like, was it over 1,000,000 or under 1,000,000? Baby, way under. And it didn't go necessarily to me because I was the person representative of, first of all, the person who died, and then the people that loved them and whose lives were forever altered by the fact that he was gone, which was my other children. So, in a lot of cases, even when you are deciding you're going to sue, s- it's probably a requirement that you go to arbitration or mediation at some point in time. It's a minimum check the box. Drake just went through mediation, 3 hours of mediation on the 19th of December for his appeal in Drake v. UMG. It's just, hey, let's see if we can come to an agreement. As the chat knows, I'm about to sue the shit out of some people here, and the court does not require, but heavily appreciates if we try mediation first. Mediation is free in my jurisdiction. So I can just call the place and say, here's the situation. Here are the parties. We need mediation. Mediation is next week. If we don't come to an agreement, I'm going to sue the fuck out them people. And I'm going to win because the statutory damages are like, baby, argue with your mama because a judge is going to laugh you out of the fucking courtroom. And I could treble my damages if I sue you, which means you may owe me, let's say $5,000. It's a lot more than that. But, the damages may be $5,000. I can treble that. The court can say, Actually, it's 20,000." To teach you a lesson to not do the kind of shit that you did to her to anybody else, because it's a consumer protection case, just like this is a consumer protection case. Mine is in Washington State, that one is in Virginia. So when you get into consumer protection situations, it's literally written into the law that the court can, you know, double, triple, quadruple the actual damages against, or the statutory damages that the defendant accrues, to teach them a lesson, to deter them from doing that to any other consumers in the future. So, that was a little bit of a rant, but this is why we get into the nuance of the thing. Yeah, it's hard, and it's very rare where you can hire attorneys and then just leave them to their devices and everything is gonna be okay. No, you're not their only client. They get busy, they forget about things, and then also, you gonna have to explain it to me. I need to know what the winning strategy is. I'm not just one of those people who's like, "Handle that." No, I need to know what your strategy is, and I need to believe in it. And I need to see you executing that strategy on the timeline that is either defined by the court or defined by the attorney behind the scenes. I'm gonna do this by this, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna da 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 da. These are the, what we're suing under. These are the various statutes under consumer protection that we would go after them for. This one covers this. This one covers this. Oh, also, Seattle has a municipal code that has statutory damages built into what happened to you that are not repetitive of state. They're separate. You can sue them for both. I need to know. You have to become your own little junior paralegal on a case. And sometimes you have to do that even before you get a lawyer so that you can get a lawyer to take your case because they don't want to hear your story. They want to hear your story in context of damages and the law. Something has to be more than mean and cruel and more than it has to be assigned to law. That's why when we read these cases, right? And, somebody sues, then we get the response or the motion to dismiss. And the most common thing we see in there is failure to state a claim under the law, failure to state a claim. You can come with your narrative, but if you have not attached it to the law and stated a claim that the law can actually provide, then you haven't stated a claim. It's like, oh, that was sad. Too bad. You have not attached this to the law and a law that exists that is proof that a court can then actually enforce some kind of relief for you. The court may not be able to provide relief for you. So it's nuanced and it's complicated. This is true too. In legal and medical, you cannot just abdicate. You have to be tapped in. You have to be willing to learn things you did not know before, and you have to be your own advocate. Aw, I love it. Subscribe. I hope you stick around. That's what we're here for. We're here to to talk about it, and learn about it, and hopefully feel like it's a conversation and not a lecture. Yeah, pay out as a deterrent. Again, because people usually focus on getting, the cliff notes of a case from the media, and then they'll just cut to the roundtable conversation, which is based on people's opinion. Well, what do you think? Do you think the payout was exorbitant? I don't give a fuck what people think. Does the law allow for that payout? Why? There's a reason. There's a reason why. And it's only corporations that are bitching. These exorbitant payouts and people just do their money grabs. No, you motherfuckers are corrupt and crooked. And the only thing you care about is money. That's why damages are higher for you. That is correct. We sure do. Yep. I mean, I'm incredibly lucky with the situation that I'm going through right now, which if you don't know, my house has been sold out from under me. Um, I'm a renter and that is completely illegal where I live. And there are a lot of protections, put in place. If I, had not already committed to a different place before discovering that all of this was done illegally, I could just refuse to go and there wouldn't be shit that they could do about it. But I did not discover that before I had committed to another place. Nevertheless, um, it afforded me again concrete, like, already analyzed by my municipality. They're in the wrong. These are the statutory damages. All you gotta do is file this paperwork and sue them or take them to mediation. By the way, mediation is free. Also, do you need to speak to a lawyer? That's free too. It's like, you don't get that everywhere, right? You don't get that. everywhere. So, and to be able to keep doing it, like maybe round one of mediation doesn't work and or we're not done and we need a second round. It's still free. Maybe I need to have another consultation with the attorney. It's still free. So I'm very fortunate. Um and because it's a housing situation, right? So you don't just get that for everything everywhere. But and it hasn't always been like that here. I can tell you that for damn sure. And that's exactly why these protections exist today, because tenants have been fucking railroaded, have been forced into homelessness. COVID had a huge impact on my city, my county, and my state, really fortifying tenant protections. And, saying like, this is when you can sell a dwelling, this is when you cannot sell a dwelling. You can't just sell a dwelling because you decided to sell it. Oh, we don't want that investment property anymore. Tough shit, it's somebody's home. You can't do that. So, I could make their lives a living fucking hell and undo everything and cause a trifecta of lawsuits, right? Uh, just legal hell for these people being sued by everybody, the broker, the people buying, or the corporation, everybody. But I'm just like, I'll just take my money. Number one, fuck these people. I don't never want to deal with them again, right? And number two, I'll take my damages and go. If you gonna walk right into having to give me thousands of dollars, baby, you gonna have to give me them thousands of dollars. I don't care if it's through mediation or suing your ass. I'm leaving here with something. Yeah, it's terrible everywhere, and it's been terrible here. I mean, we've I've got a slumlord, uh, who owns a property right across the street from me. It's a two-level house with a underground basement. He split it into 3 rentals. He owns dozens of properties. He does this with every single property. He doesn't care who lives there. He doesn't care, honest to God, if they move out and other people have moved in the interim. Like, it is a living hell, a living hell. And then there was a time where he was upset at one of the tenants over there, and he just went over there and started dragging their shit out, throwing it into the street, told them to get out. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. Oh, he's a total piece of shit. He really is. He literally has a Wikipedia page for being a slumlord, and he has, been fined by the state several times because I guess he used to go around to properties that had been seized by the county or whoever seized it, right? Properties that were gonna go to auction. He would break into them. He would break into these properties that had been seized and would go to auction, damage them, or pay somebody else to break into them and damage them, so that when they were getting their appraisal, the price would be lowered based on the damage inside the properties, holes in walls, cut pipes, right? Fuck up the wiring a little bit. They just drop the price down at auction and then bid on them and get them. Make your little repairs, chop it up into a bunch of different units and keep going. Oh, I can't stand that man. He's as old as fucking dirt and I can't wait for him to die. I really can't wait for him to die. Just a horrible person. Yeah, so I was stunned. I was stunned because I was looking him up for something else, just doing a generic, like, "Who is this motherfucker?" Because we here in the neighborhood had to deal with him about that house, and he came down the street hot, got out of his car hot, just started cussing at people who were generally outside. Uh, so nobody likes him. And so I came in and was just like, "Who is this motherfucker?" Put in his name, put in the city, second result, Wikipedia page. I couldn't believe it. It just has all of the stuff. He's done it several times, several different places. Yeah, just kick the bucket already. Just kick the bucket. See? Yeah, I don't watch shows like that because they make me insane. But I'm not surprised that one exists. So, yeah, Drake is being sued again. And I'm fascinated by this one. I really am fascinated by this one. Like I said, this has immediately shot to the top of my list. It's gonna take at least a month for them to serve all of these parties. Let me see how many docket alerts I have active right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I guess it's a good round number. 25. Oh man. I was thinking to myself, in January, we're probably going to get the schedule for the Drake v. UMG appeal. That we're probably going to get that schedule in January. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, the other lawsuits, sure, interesting. Dockets always evolve to be really fucking fascinating. Um, but this one is wow. Wow. Really stunning. Really, really stunning. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, somebody said it's just a matter of time. The feds are watching. Uh, yeah, sure, true. I think it's possible that an investigation could get opened up at the Postmaster General level, the IRS level. I think when it comes to the federal government doing an investigation, a criminal I put my chips, no pun intended, on Australia before the US. Again, because the districts in terms of US attorneys are in disarray right now, and also just really super busy. So I could see a state AG, right? That's the AG that you vote for on your ballot in your state. I could see a state AG picking it up, okay, and launching an investigation, um, but that doesn't mean it's criminal. But in terms of a Fed case, okay, like the DOJ, I don't see them beaten out. I just don't see them getting to it before another country gets to it, unless there is a federal investigation underway right now that we don't know about that involves stake tipping and the nefarious moving of money. There very well could be. There could be a federal criminal investigation into that right now, and we don't know because it's not public knowledge. But again, I think they're hugely in disarray. They might get to it, but I still put my money on Australia to look at it first. We'll see. You know, I don't disagree with you. You know, I think he's on a downward spiral. I think we talked about this the other night. That the Iceman album not coming out is that was probably the most shocking aspect of Drake's year, and the most demonstrative evidence of just how far he's fallen in all areas. That your album that you started a whole rollout for is winter themed, like, just all the things did not come out, and now no longer has a projected public release date. That was the most shocking thing to happen with regard to Drake this year until today. Well, I mean, we're a day late, but this was filed yesterday, so it will be interesting to see if this lawsuit survives, um all of the motions to dismiss that are gonna come its way. And we're not gonna know that for several months. So, they have filed this lawsuit, then they need to serve the lawsuit. Based on the other Drake Aiden stake lawsuits, I pay attention to how long does it take to serve, right? It's gonna take them a month at least to serve all these parties. We're probably not going to get their response to this lawsuit until March. It could come in February, but I'm gonna say March because now we've got, um, a bunch of different people that have to be served. For the court's efficiency, they're gonna give everybody the same response date, right? So, that's what I'm guessing. It might start off with different response dates, but at some point in time, the court's gonna be like, "All right, fuck it," and that's why it will get pushed out so long because let's say they serve Aiden tomorrow, but they can't serve Drake for 3 more weeks, and then they can't actually get to stake for 4 weeks, and so the court will just pick a date several weeks to months out and say, "Everybody who is served by this date and this time on this action has to file their response by this date, by this time." So, we've got this lawsuit. They've requested the court issue the summons, that is the official paperwork to serve. They've got to do the service. Then they've got the response date. So it goes complaint, response, reply to response. In this case, it's complaint, responses, replies to responses. So the people suing, the people being sued, the people suing responding to the people replying to whatever the people being sued said. And then a decision by the court about whether to dismiss it or not. So, yeah. No, at this point in time, they know who Aiden's lawyers are because you can go to the other lawsuit and look it up, and it says on there who his lawyers are. So this gets handled by phone. What they will ask, we'll use Aiden as an example. Plaintiff's lawyers will contact Aiden's lawyers. They probably already have, just to let them know, we're going to sue you. Preserve your shit, right? Tell your client to preserve everything. In an ideal world, these lawyers communicate with Aiden's lawyers, Aiden as the example, and say, all right, we filed our lawsuit. Will you waive service? Which means, will you waive formally being served this lawsuit and just allow us to send it to you? And they can say yes or they can say no. They say yes, in which case service has been waived. We've delivered a copy of the lawsuit to them. Aiden's lawyers acknowledge to the court, we've waived service. We are in receipt of the lawsuit. We are representing him. They come onto the docket, right? Introduce themselves to the judge. Hey, judge, it's us. We represent Aiden. If they need admittance, they file that paperwork. Hey, we're not from this court district. We need admittance, please. Will you let us in? We've waived service. We're in receipt of the lawsuit. When do we need to respond by? And the judge lets them know. If they don't waive service, then yeah, they got to go. Plaintiff's lawyers got to go chase Aiden around, serve him or somebody able-bodied on his property. When he was served by Megan Thee Stallion, his security was served. He complained to the court that person wasn't authorized to receive service. They don't have to be. They have to be identifiable as likely over 18 and able-bodied of sound mind on the property. That's it. So I'm sure they will, try and play some games, but, terrible things are going to keep happening to Aiden Ross until he stops being a privileged, narcissistic, racist, white supremacist piece of shit on the internet. So he can kiki and ha and y'all ain't got shit on me and I ain't do shit and blah, 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 and they can't prove blah, 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 blah. They gonna keep coming for him because he gonna keep doing dumb biscuit head assery. And one day it's not gonna be funny anymore. One day it's not gonna be hee ha ha. We don't know if that day is today, tomorrow, 10 years from now. But these gambling lawsuits are going to keep coming. They are going to be class action lawsuits, and they are going to be they're going to keep coming. Because it doesn't matter if one gets dismissed. They don't all fall. They're filed in separate jurisdictions with similar but different laws at times applied, especially when you're talking about they violated state law. Laws are similar but different. So Aiden and Drake and any of their alleged co-conspirators gotta whack-a-mole their way across the country, fighting each lawsuit individually. We've got 8 states that have filed class actions, or excuse me, 8 states where class actions have been filed, because 'cause they're not state actions, they're actions in the state by regular degulars. But I think it's 6 to 8 that there are already cases existing that are class actions or proposed class actions to either cover the state or the state plus people across the country. They're gonna keep getting filed. It does. It does sound expensive, you know? It does, boy, it does. Whew. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. That's crazy. I'm multitasking. Hmm. Okay. That's funny. What's the over under for Drake having to sell the jet? I don't have my notes, but I had done some time ago, I had done some math on the overhead of the boat. I mean, not the boat, the overhead of the plane and the embassy. And I think it's this coming year. This was over a year ago that I did this, so I'm totally spitballing here, but I think it is this coming year that the cumulative overhead costs for maintaining the plane, paying people to fly the plane, stewardesses, storage of the plane, all the things plane. I believe 2026 is the year that cumulatively that has become more expensive than the plane is valuable. Okay, so even though the plane was a gift to him beginning this year, the plane should be considered in the red. The embassy is longer. Um, I think I think I ran 3 different models based on different variables or something, and at least I believe 2 out of 3 of the models that I ran, the plane was more expensive than the house. But the house is still really fucking expensive. The overhead on the house is very expensive. So, I don't know, the embassy will be a hit no matter what. It'll be an ego hit, right? Because 'Cause you're selling it because you can't afford it anymore or you're cash poor, you need the cash. Um, but who's gonna buy it, right? Are you gonna continue to suffer ego deaths every time you gotta lower the price of the house because this economy? You gotta be a multi-billionaire who wants to buy a house that was built for you, that's got your initials, engraved in shit all over the house. So, it's a fixer-upper is what I'm saying. I don't think it's necessarily a desirable might be a desirable property, as in the land, uh, and, in a lot of cases, that is what you're paying for. Um, I wouldn't want that house. It looks gaudy to me from what I've seen of the interior. It looks really gaudy, and I don't like gaudy. I do like land, though. There you go. That fucking picture. Happy New Year. At least once. At least once. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we've been talking about that for over a year here, 1600 lieutenant. There's a difference between asset rich and cash rich, right? And so asset rich, Drake is rich, richer than any of us will ever be. Cash, on the other hand, don't think he's got it like that. And that's the case for most wealthy people. Um, Elon Musk is about to be a trillionaire. Elon Musk is cash poor. His whole shtick is in uh robbing Peter to pay Paul. Tesla earnings suck. Starlink is a drain. And the other space thing he's got going on, also in the red. He takes his bonuses from um, Tesla, which usually involve large sums of cash and then also shares, right? Pulls as much cash as he has and then immediately dumps them into his other ventures that are in the red. And that's how he keeps those things going. So, is Elon Musk a billionaire, trillionaire? On paper, he sure is. Is he cash poor? Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. I mean, AI is giving Tesla a run for its money. But yes, Tesla is nothing, it's an idiot bubble. It's a useful idiot bubble. That's what Tesla is. Elon's other ventures and Tesla is more beneficial to China than it is to anybody. And that's why Tesla will be like, "No, sure, we'll buy your little cars," because they need Tesla to keep going. It's extremely beneficial to their own automotive industry. Um, but yes, Drake is cash poor. He does way too many cash grabs to be considered wealthy. Right. Drake is rich, okay? Jay-Z is wealthy. Drake is rich. Jay-Z is wealthy. Beyonce is wealthier. So he's way, way new money. And yeah, it's the business decisions that he makes. It's the partnerships that he enters into. It's the large sums of cash up front that are gone like that based on lifestyle. And then just bills. Cash poor. I mean, if you need more evidence of Drake is cash poor, no wealthy man sells pooper scoopers on Amazon. $50 pooper scoopers, $26 dog shit bags. Yep. Oh, baby, you ain't know? This is not a joke. Drake has an Amazon warehouse. We went through it here on live the day that, or within days of it opening. So you can actually watch a live right here on this beautiful channel. You can replay gang it. You ain't even got to go far. And better yet, you ain't got to fuck up. If you use Amazon, you ain't got to fuck up your Amazon algo by going and looking at it yourself, okay? Because you do it one time, every time after that you go on Amazon, it's gonna be like, oh, you like Drake. No, the fuck I don't. And it will happen across their apps, right? You go into the generic app, it's like, oh, you want to buy all the Drake things. Drake. You go into the music app, you want to listen to Drake. No, the fuck I don't. You go into the Prime Video. No, you want to watch an old Drake concert? No, I don't. Fuck. I didn't even buy anything. I just looked at the warehouse one goddamn time. But yes, there are. I bullshit you not. Pooper scoopers. You want to know what the art is on the pooper scoopers? It's okay. I'll tell you. For all the dogs. You want to know what's on the shit bags? For all the dogs. Album art work. Oh, also, would you like a body pillow with Drake on it so that you can sleep with him? You can get that too. It's $100. I mean, it'll cost you. He's a hoe, but he's not going for less than 100 a trick. So you're gonna have to ante up a couple coin for that one. But if you want a body pillow, baby, you can have a body pillow. You can sleep with that motherfucker. Have that polyester next to you every night. Every night. Right. You ain't got to stream. You ain't got to be a streamer if you wealthy. Let's just start there. You ain't got to do that if you wealthy. Okay? You ain't got to do that. That was a time. That's exactly what that pillow is made out of. Thank you very much. Flammable rayon. That's exactly what the fuck it is. I ain't even got to check. We always, when we talk about Drake, have a chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. Cause wow. I don't even know, gang. I don't even know. Oh, baby, that money been gone. That money been gone. That UMG original deal money, baby, that money been gone. Been gone. And then when it came to contract renewal, they offered him less. We basically got that confirmation when he went after Lucian Grange's files in Discovery in Drake v. UMG, and Lucian Grange swore out a declaration to the court and said, you want to talk about money grab? Lucian Grange told the court Drake is suing because he wants to renegotiate a contract. He wants leverage to renegotiate a contract he doesn't like. I'm unswayed by these antics. That was a day. That was the day. He just called him on his bullshit. Just called him on his bullshit. Drake said Lucian Grange personally saw to the release of Not Like Us, personally directed the music video, personally this, that, the other. Lucian came onto the docket and said, I didn't know shit about shit until everybody else saw it. I saw it like everybody else saw it. I heard it like everybody else heard it. When it was released, also, this man is doing this because he don't like his contract. He a bitter little bitch boy. Yeah. Find that shit. Sir Lucian Grange. MBE. I said, oh, Drake, baby. Why you just line yourself up for the humiliation? Why? Rhetorical question. I know why. Man, we started off 2026 strong. I'm looking forward to the replay. That is exactly right, Erica M. We might find out exactly what he has and what he doesn't, depending on how these lawsuits go. That is exactly right. Because we can anticipate that these folks are going to file a motion to dismiss. And what have we learned from the federal rules of civil procedure thanks to Drake v. UMG? Discovery will go forward and will not wait for a judge to decide a motion to dismiss. So the docket's going to go. It's going to take a minute. It's going to take a minute. Again, got to serve everybody. Judge has got to figure out what's the most efficient way to get all these responses, right? So that people don't have to duplicate work. But once they get that in order, this one's going to roll, just like Drake v. UMG did. So are all the other ones that he's involved in. They just going to go. But this one excites me. This docket excites me like the Drake v. UMG docket, where I was like, I can't wait. I'm trying to temper my excitement because I know I'm telling myself as much as I'm telling you, it's going to take a month to serve them. It's going to take another month for them to all file their responses or their motions to dismiss. So it's going to be a minute before we get another document on this docket. But baby, I can't fucking wait. I can't fucking wait. We'll probably get at least one amendment to the complaint. God, it's so good, you guys. It's so good. So happy. Thank you. I was not. I really appreciate it that you ascribe that to me. If I had gone out, baby, yes. I would have looked all the things, but no, this was just here at home. At home on the couch. I had a horrible migraine for the majority of the day yesterday and really didn't really come into consciousness until about 4 o'clock because I didn't want spoilers on Stranger Things. I didn't want to hear people bitching before I saw the episode and it dropped at 5 o'clock. So by 4 o'clock, I was self-medicating in every way that I possibly could. Like, seriously, Google, what is the max before kidney failure is a problem with me taking this over-the-counter medication. Type vibes yesterday, but thank you. No. I woke up looking like death coming and going, but I woke up super, super early. I took a really nice shower. I put my pool noodles in my hair. Right? I thought I was gonna be on live much, 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 much earlier, but then I just decided to just have a chill morning and early afternoon, play some video games, cuddle with the cat, you know? And I was like, "I'll get here when I get here." I thought we were gonna be talking about something else entirely, which would not have been admittedly, it would not have been as exciting, and we would not have gotten the the group that we got today because the Jack Smith deposition has dropped. It's 8.5 hours. I am going to watch the whole thing. We were gonna just watch the introduction and his opening statement together. We'll do that another time, but we will do it because I, for the most part, was just in the dark yesterday. Like, in the dark, phone screen turned down all the way, lights off, shades pulled, sunglasses on. That's how bad my headache was. Immobile, not moving, because moving made it worse. But there were a couple times where I would pick up my phone and just kinda scroll for a couple minutes on social media, and then I would go back to, being eyes closed, covered up. But, I saw a couple clips of the deposition, and I genuinely thought to myself, "Either I'm hallucinating or I'm lucid dreaming right now, because ain't no way they decided to release this deposition." They made him testify behind closed doors when he wanted to testify openly in an open hearing. I was like, "Ain't no way. They've done an about face and just dropped the video." And then again, once the drugs took effect and I was able to check the news, I was like, "Holy shit." And they dropped it at this point in time thinking we won't pay attention to it, blah, blah, blah. Nah, we're paying attention. I read part 1 of Jack Smith's report here. Part 2 is coming. It is the confidential part that has evidence in it that, uh, that Biscuit head ass judge in Florida refused to release. She's been overruled. She now has to release it. It has to be released by February. That's why when this live started, the first title of this live was 2026 Year of the Criminal President, because it's going down this year for Donald too. And then it quickly changed to we didn't even get into talking about Jack Smith, talking about Donald. We didn't get into any of that. Somebody popped up in the chat and said, "Is it true about a RICO case against Drake?" And now here we are. 3 hours later. So, thank you, beautiful. Yeah, she never claimed him. That's why she wouldn't kiss his ass in public. Remember that? That was a moment. He went in for the smoochy smooch. She said, "No, we don't do that." It does not. It does not. Although I am a little hungry. I am a little hungry. I did burn through, the sustenance that I consumed before I started this live. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting, gang. I might have to write another book, depending on what happens with this lawsuit. Because wow, I'm still, as you can see, kinda stunned, and I need time. I need time to process this and think. I'm gonna go back and watch Our other lives about these, well, actually, I don't know if I'm gonna watch the other steak lawsuit lives, but I am gonna watch the Spotify one where he's not a named party, but he's referenced as the prime example of botting. So, thank you, beautiful. Enjoy it. It's a doozy. I got taken out several times. I Stunning. Stunning. Bob and weave, baby. Bob and weave. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, Imma go. Imma go. Let's all just go think about what we've learned here today. If you haven't already, hit the like button, share the live, hype this before you leave the channel tonight, okay? Hype this, share it, leave a general comment after this live closes so that more folks in our looter family will see it and tap in. And yeah, I'm sure I'll see you again this week or this weekend. Wowza. Thank you to the chat for pointing this out. Yeah, damn. Damn. Well. See you soon. Peace.